Does it say record?
This meeting is being recorded.
All right. Hey, book lovers. Welcome to Seriously Sandra, where we get real about books and the brilliant minds behind them. Today, I am beyond excited to have in front of me, live and in person, Jane L. Rosen. We're diving into stories, plots, and all the writing magic. So grab your favorite drink, get cozy, and let's chat books. Welcome, Jane.
Thank you for having me. I'm so honored. I think I'm
Well, I have to tell you, I'm going to gush a little bit about you. So, I discovered your book, Nine Women, One Dress, years ago. And I just, you had me at hello when around dresses and fashion. And the story was so captivating. And I just enjoyed. And that was one of my favorite books that year. And when did that book come out?
I think 10 years ago.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh
hmm
my gosh. I've been okay, so I've been pushing this
It's
book for 10 years.
unbelievable.
Huh?
It's crazy. Maybe a
It's
little. I think it's like 10 years ago.
wow. Wow. And I've
It's,
been pushing it for 10 years,
and I've
which
been
is
writing novels now for 10 years because before that I was a screenwriter and I can't believe I'm doing this for 10 years. Novel number 6 is coming out in May.
which I can't wait to talk to you about as well. And the one thing I have to say, and with Nine Women, One Dress, one of the things people always ask is like when I say, "Oh, that's my favorite book," or "What about it?" There's usually a scene or a phrase in a book that I will remember forever. And so the funeral parlor scene about the dress, where the whole thing on, and she's in the emergency room and you find out about the dress, I could, that's going to go with me for the rest of my life. Can you chat a little bit about that?
That's how the story started, believe it or not, with that scene. I was in the airport. I was coming home from Jamaica, actually, and um, I this woman said to me, "I have a great idea for it's a movie." Because remember, I was a screenwriter first. I
Mhm.
have a great story, and I said, "What is it?" But I don't like to say what is it because I hate when people tell me something and maybe I already had it in my head, or you know what I mean. I almost feel like I'm stealing someone else's story. But so she tells me this story about a dress that was returned to Bloomingdale's covered in formaldehyde. So I was like, wow, that was the start. In my head, I just started going backwards and backwards and backwards until I got, that was the ending, obviously, because there's nothing more to happen with the dress. And I just kept going backwards, Nine Women backwards. And I wrote that book, and it was my first novel.
And it was, and I think that scene, and that makes so much sense to me now, because when I book push, and I'm like, you got to read this book, and I'm like, you got to read this. And I'm like, you've never read it, and sometimes people are looking for something a little bit lighter, or nothing too deep. So it's like, oh, what is that about? I'm like, I can't tell you, but there's going to be a scene in there, and after you finish it, I want to talk to you about it and what you have done.
Some people talk about another scene in there that is also a little on the shocking side,
Which
um,
one?
outside of Bloomingdale's.
Oh,
Yeah, the way the dress gets to that more, to the
yes.
funeral home. Yeah. Um, yeah, that book was so fun and so hard, but so fun to write, especially because it was my first real novel and who thought anyone was going to read it? It's like once you start publishing,
Mhm.
you start thinking about what is Sandra going to think? You start thinking about the critics and the readers but that one, you don't really believe you're going to be published until it happens. So I loved writing that book.
That was absolutely fun. So after that happened, and you said, because since that was over 10 years ago, and you have an illustrious career since then, what was the magic in that made you continue going?
The magic in the first book,
Yeah.
or you mean to continue writing it from
Yeah.
that? Oh, I think I was looking. for something, actually. My daughter was very ill at the time, and
Mm.
I was consumed with her illness. And that writing that book really gave me an escape. I ended up, she had this sickness where she would faint and or vomit between like each period at school. And I would have to run across town and downtown from my house in Manhattan to her school, which was the High School Performing Arts, the FAME school. And it was really just so stressful for both of us. And a friend of mine said, why don't you start staying at the library across the street? So I started staying at the library across the street and I started writing that book because, like, what else am I going to do? And I wrote most of the book right then and there in the library. And if she didn't feel well, she'd call me up and I'd go across the street and we'd all be calm about it. You know, there wouldn't be a big emergency. And I'd pick her up and take her home. And I did that for a couple of months and I really got a good part of the book down.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's really cool. So yeah, that was, I love that. And then our library actually is using one of your other books. We're talking about digital wellness. We do
Right.
a Millis, we do a one town, one read. And where and that's usually where a whole town talks about a particular book, and our library goes between a book or a theme. So we decided to do digital wellness this year. So
Mhm.
because we're doing digital wellness, your book Eliza Starts a Rumor came up. And again, it is an interesting, what forums and digital forums and, whether you're using whatever the platform is, Facebook or anything of that ilk, and how that works. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Of course, of course. So I just want to say that reminded me that On Fire Island has been chosen as the Long Island reads. So all the libraries have been contacting me, and I grew up on Long Island. It's been so exciting, and I'm doing a whole bunch of book talks with them. But Eliza Starts a Rumor was my second novel, and I was at, oh, I just got, did you see that?
That's
I,
awesome. Balloons.
Eliza Starts a Rumor was my second novel, and it came to me at the last book talk that I did for Nine Women, One Dress. I was at this like UJA event or Hadassah or something in New Jersey, a Jewish organization. And I started talking about the online forums and how people would just say anything they want, like as if, they'd say like, my husband, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, are they crazy? This isn't private. This isn't like Las Vegas, whatever you do stays there. And when I said that, the whole room of women started talking amongst themselves about just what I was talking about. And I knew I hit a chord. I knew I struck a chord that people just can't get enough of these online forums sometimes.
We have one in our town, and it's like it can be like shocking sometimes. Like you're like, why are you publishing this there? And then it's is it, the and I what I loved about Eliza Starts a Rumor is like, oh, this forum is for the boomers and the seniors, and this forum is for the Gen Zs and the millennials, and you want to be here. And what is the cool, and app to be on, which I think we're now doing with social media. Do you want to? Yeah.
I guess. I mean, I think people might be tiring of it a little, but maybe not. But yeah, I really just can't believe what goes on. I cannot believe the infighting and the back and forth comments and the total disregard for like people's feelings sometimes. You just, it's as if some kind of wall is removed and you don't have to be kind. You could just say what you want because you're not standing. You would never say this to each other when you were standing next to each other. It's crazy. Yeah. So
And I think that's so interesting when you say that if we were in person, you'd mind your words, or I should say most of us would
yeah,
mind our words,
right.
right? And yet when we think there's this invisible wall, that we feel that we can say whatever. And that's what I thought was really interesting with Eliza Starts a Rumor, is that feeling of not being included and excluded, and how do I become included again?
Yeah.
And, and how people feel about that.
But also Eliza is interesting. She struggles with agoraphobia.
Mhm.
So for her, it was a really necessary connection to the outside world. And I think sometimes that does help people that maybe, you know, are home for whatever reason, not agoraphobia, but maybe with babies or with caring for their parents or whatever it is, isolated in any way. It does open up your world. It does make you feel like you could say whatever you want to say and people will support you, hopefully. So
I agree. I absolutely agree with you. So you just went on to where I wanted to go next, on the Fire Island. And, I know it became a series, but you want to talk about, like, because you talk about Fire Island being special to you, and like from there.
the actually the last script I ever wrote was called Four Corners, and it is the story of On Fire Island.
Oh,
So I put it aside and I wrote all those other books before I tackled this story because the story meant so much to me that I just wanted to make sure I knew what I was doing because I was a screenwriter before and it takes a while to hone your craft. So um yeah, that book and that place just means the world to me. I raised my kids there in the summers. I met my husband out there. He got arrested drinking, not arrested, but brought into the police station for drinking a Snapple. You weren't allowed to drink anything on the walks back then in this town, Ocean Beach. And the officer said, "Come with me, son." And I followed him into the police station and I made up a whole story. I said, "This is my boyfriend. He just got off the ferry boat and he didn't know the rules. And I was just explaining them to him when he took a sip. And I don't think you should give him a ticket." And he let us go. And my now husband was like, "You're a keeper." So that was it. We were engaged 5.5 months later, and we were married about a year after that, or give or take. So, and then we ended up
wow.
buying a house on Fire Island. Yeah.
That's awesome. And
Mm.
so that was the jump start for the books, and like,
No, I mean, I think the real start for the books, the Fire Island series, is the community. It's a very close community. Most of the men and some of the women play softball right across from my house, and the camaraderie between the men on that softball field is really what gave me the idea to On Fire Island is about a woman who passes at a young age and how her husband gets through that first summer. It is actually since then so many people, maybe once a week, someone who's mourning reaches out to me and says the book has helped them. So that has been my biggest joy with this book. I mean, that I'm helping people with their grief is just immeasurable to me. It's fantastic. But yeah, so it's basically about one summer. And then I took it, my publisher really wanted me to keep going, and I did with two more books. So there's 7 summer weekends, which is right there, which follows some of the same characters. All three books are completely independent. And I'll show you the arc of my next book.
ooh,
I hope. Where is it? Uh-oh, here it is. It's called Songs of Summer.
oh, so
Yeah.
tell us, what is it about?
So in On Fire Island, there is an older man and he has two daughters, and the daughters are estranged. And the estrangement came from when one of the girls became pregnant in college and gave the baby up for adoption. So this book starts with the adopted child of Beatrice. So that's Beatrice's adopted.
Oh,
And she comes to Fire Island to find her birth mother. And every chapter starts with another song
okay.
like that. So there's a
Yeah.
great set list that comes along with it. You could actually listen along, and it's very fun. It was very fun picking the songs.
What were some of the songs?
Well, there's a right in the front of the book, there is a glossary of the songs. I think there is. Maybe it's at the back of the book. Let's see. What do we got? Here we go. Maggie May, that's the girl's name. Put your records on. I see the moon. Smile. I'll just tell you a few. Into the Mystic. Love you for a long time. Rapper's Delight. Ninth Street Bridge Song. The Shoop Shoop Song. Rock Lobster. A whole bunch.
All right.
Yeah.
So do you have a
What's
playlist
going
that
on?
you write to?
I have a playlist. No, I do not have a playlist for that. But I have a playlist for this on Spotify. And then you could go to Jane L. Rosen and you could download it. Yeah.
That's awesome. I
Yeah.
love it. So
I
when's it
love
coming out?
May
What's the
20th.
pub date? May
May
what?
20. May
May
20th.
20th.
Yes.
Oh, you excited about it?
Yes, but my daughter's getting married May 31st. So I'm a little little
Oh my gosh.
crazy that time of year. Yeah. But it's all good.
That's gonna be so fun. Well,
Yeah.
then you'll have a lot to celebrate right around then.
I know. It's a great time. Except
And
I
then
like on what?
The Long Island Reads that they chose that, which is really cool. What are some of the special things that they have going for that?
Oh, well, April 6th, there's a big event out in Long Island. I get an award or something like that. And but before and after, all the different libraries are doing like book clubs for On Fire Island. I've been invited to about 6 of them so far. I try to go whenever I'm invited. One night I'm doing something with 6 libraries on Long Island. So it's just going to be a big reading festival where everyone's going to read On Fire Island. I'm hoping that they love it. And then they pick up 7 summer weekends and songs of summer, and it'll just be a lot of beachiness for everybody.
Oh, I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. I love it. It is so cool to hear, you know, again, where Nine Women, One Dress was a solo, and now On Fire Island has spurred 3, and now it's a series. And you said your publisher wants you to, are you going to continue to after this, or is it ending at a trilogy?
I'm not sure. I have kind of interest in this. There's stuff going on with the 3 books, let's just say.
Hmm.
To see what happens.
Okay.
I'm not at liberty to say it yet, but
Ah,
you will
you
be
know,
the first to know.
I'm leaning in. So if you wanted to
I can't.
just me and everybody else, right?
What they say, it's in a Yiddish word called "Don't kind of hurry yourself." Kanahura. Have you heard that word?
Katahara? Don't
Yeah, it
katahara.
means like don't curse yourself about something.
Hmm.
Like, you know,
You gotta be
Kanahura. Yeah.
you gotta be a little this,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
I absolutely love because then it gives a little mystery and then when it comes up. So what
Yeah.
other mysterious or magical things can you share with us?
Um, I don't know. I mean, everything is great. The books are doing great. I've in touch with tons of readers. I have Hollywood interested in 2 of my books, which I can't say anything about yet, which is always exciting. But it doesn't always really come to fruition. I've sold Eliza, I've sold Nine Women, One Dress, but that's why I started writing novels, really, because I
Uh-huh.
wrote all these screenplays, and the only people that really read them was my family and the people who bought them in the studios. But it takes so much to get something made into a television
Mhm.
show or into a movie. Oh, sorry. So, you know, books at least I could share with all my readers, and I love it. It's been a great ride.
I love that. And I just enjoyed, just being a part of it. Think I get to know you through your writing and sharing your journey along the way. And it's really cool. If since you screenplays were your thing and you were going to cast have you ever thought about who like some of the actors you'd cast?
Yes, I do think about that, but sometimes I cast people that are dead, so it's not very helpful. Especially on Fire Island, I've Shep, who's my very favorite character. He's in all 3 of those Fire Island books. I've been casting him for so long that he used to be Paul Newman. Then he was Alan Arkin. I mean, there's just Bill. The funny thing is, Bill Murray. I was once looking at
Mhm.
my window of my apartment when I lived downtown in the city, and there was a movie filming. and I had just finished the script for that book, because remember I wrote it as a screenplay first. And I saw Bill Murray sitting on the corner, standing there. And I'm like, oh my God, that's Shep. And I lived in a walk up, it was 5 floors. I ran up, got the copy of my script, and I ran down 100 flights, and I went outside to the corner, and he was in a car. And I said, he rolled down the window. I was holding a script. They probably thought I was part of the movie set, right? They rolled down the window. I said, hi, Mr. Murray. I have this script, and it's the craziest thing. I always thought you'd be the perfect Shep, and this, whatever I said. And here it, I want to know if you would read it. It's the craziest thing. And he goes, it's not the craziest thing. I'm like, okay, it's not the craziest thing, but and then he's like, sure. And he took it, and nothing ever happened. But I like sat in my apartment looking out the window while he was reading it. Like I ran back upstairs and I just watched him looking through it. But yeah, I mean, it's fun to cast, but I feel like, I don't know about you, but I don't know all the kids and the people say names now. And I'm like, who's that? Who's that? You know?
Well, I'm in a book club, and usually, and it's five of us, and usually when we finish a book, we're always trying to cast it. We always said, if the author wants our help, we're available,
Huh?
and we right? Like or Hollywood, and like you, I don't know actors at all. Like, I have a couple that I just, people I adore. So whether they fit the role or not, I'm gonna throw their name in. And I will just say this person or that person. And it's like, it doesn't matter what ethnicity it's supposed to be, it's still
Yeah,
that person. Like,
yeah, yeah.
because that's
Eliza's fun to cast. Eliza, I used to cast all the time. That was like, I don't know, I loved to cast.
oh, who would play Eliza?
Oh, you know who I wanted to play Eliza? She was in Gilmore Girls, and she was in, she's very famous. She rides,
Lauren Graham?
no, the other
Yeah.
one.
Melissa McCarthy?
Yes, yes.
Ah,
And then I had, who else? I had the woman from, oh God, I don't remember. Sandra. Oh no, not Sandra. Oh, maybe it was Sandra. Oh, for I don't remember everyone's names. Do you?
no, and I don't have the book in front of me. And
I
it's
had like people that I cast before, like
yeah,
Sterling, for
Sterling
Jackie.
K. Brown.
Yes, he's never doing this part now, but when I cast it, when I wrote it, he was just on This Is Us, just starting, like the show
Yes.
started. So I was like, okay, he'll do it, but now he won't do it. No way.
Don't
So
you never know.
I
Put
don't
it
think
out to the universe.
I
I'm all
don't
about
think so.
throwing it out to the
Oh, my
universe and
dog
saying,
is barking. I'm sorry. I'm gonna
that's
just
okay.
come in, Rosie. Yeah, so yeah, so he was my definite choice because I love him. Did you see the new book, the new show called Paradise?
I haven't.
Oh, it's so
I
good.
heard it's phenomenal. I haven't
So
watched
good.
it yet, so
Yeah,
I'm
it's
looking
really good.
forward to it.
This is
So
Rosie.
when I'm not, hi, Rosie.
Yeah, Rosalita.
Oh, you're adorable. What kind?
She's a rescue, a mini Bernedoodle. Oh my God, she's being so funny. She's like really looking at you.
Hi. She's
Hi.
like, yes. That is.
We're on TV, kinda.
You're gonna be famous.
You're gonna be famous.
Oh my gosh, it has been so fun. So, I love to ask my author question. What are you, if, now I'm going to twist it a little bit. If you could donate 3 books to a library, what 3 books would you want them to add to their collection or have in their collection?
Nobody will tell you this but me, by Bess Cal.
Okay.
My favorite books. It's a beautiful book. Tree Grows in Brooklyn, because I think that Betty Smith's book was always my favorite. And James and the Giant Peach, because that was my first book I fell in love with when I was a kid and got me into
Ooh,
yeah. Even
I
though
love it.
Roald
And
Dahl,
well, I was going to ask you what your favorite children's, no, it's kind of cool because I was going to ask you what your favorite children's book is. So would it be James and the Giant Peach?
absolutely
Why?
something about that kid traveling, floating away in that peach really got me. I don't know. I just loved it.
Oh my word. Well, Jane, it has been delightful to chat with you today. How can people find you or find more about you?
Follow me on Instagram. I'm always on Instagram, unfortunately. And go to my website, Jane L. Rosen. You could see if I'm coming to your area or anything like that. And yeah, those are the best places. Facebook, Instagram, and my website.
That's wonderful.
Yes.
Wow. This has been an incredible conversation. So much thanks to you, Jane, for sharing your
You.
journey and your insights. And if you haven't read Jane yet, what you waiting for?
Here's a
Check
back.
the links below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment with your favorite takeaway from today's chat. Until next time, keep reading, keep dreaming, and keep sharing your own story. Take care.